Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thursday, the 16th October. So we'll start off with the long-short ratio. It's getting very, very high. We're about 67% long accounts in the market on Binance, which is quite high, to be honest. Means there's quite a lot of longs coming in this sort of like downwards grindy price action. You can see this on the hourly that we've been extremely heavily long until, well, pretty much since the dump, all the way in this sideways price action. So we're going to be building those long liquidations to the downside. In general, yeah, it's just, if you look at this on the daily, yeah, it's just looking a little bit rough, isn't it? I do expect that if we get like another dump, which breaks structure, basically, we get some closes down here, this will heavily start to taper off and we'll get a lot of shorts hopefully coming in at the bottom, which will be sort of like 105 down to like 101k. And if we see a flip and basically a lot of shorts coming in that area, I'm going to start looking potentially the other way and us to rip all the liquidations at the highs, sort of like 121 to 125. But yeah, it could also generally just hold here and we could go up. But there's definitely something to be slightly a bit wary of in this area. In terms of liquidations, yeah, we actually did get into some of this local stuff down here, just at 109.5-ish. There's a little bit below us at 109. Obviously, we have so many liquidations above us as well. There's a really thick pocket about 116.5 and a little bit of a dead zone just above 117.5 as well. If we were to start heading on to the upside. If I go just to the hourly, it's quite similar. Yeah, 116 up to, 118, which is kind of the dead zone. If I just have a look at the 2 week. Yeah, we got a big dead zone at 120k to 122.5. And then the big ones start coming in towards the highs. So it's kind of still a little bit thin. We're going a little bit sideways. We're having a lot of longs come in. But yeah, not too much to say other than we're just heavily long. In terms of the node, we are kind of losing it as of right now. We do have a wick down to this low at sort of like 109.5, 109.6-ish. But we do have a few lower closes on the hourly as well. So looking a little bit precarious, looking a little bit like it could go either way. If we regain this node, we could probably come up and test the highs. But yeah, it's just, it's a little bit in no man's land for me, to be honest, which is why I'm talking about a slightly boring week this week. But it's quite nice to go sideways, just have a little bit of stability in the market for once after that crazy Friday and weekend. So let's just go and quickly, before I talk about ETH and Bitcoin, where kind of Bitcoin is just doing absolutely nothing, so there's not really too much to say. We are on the 4-hour lows right here, and we do have a lot of longs coming in. So yeah, it's just one of those ones where we're in a little bit of a weird situation. I do think we are, it doesn't look that great at the moment, just with the amount of longs coming in. I would like to see sort of like one more dump down into the lows, and then we're going to bull div like massively, and then hopefully again the shorts start come in at the lows. But yeah, it's just a bit of a weird time in the market. But yeah, so on Tuesday we took a nice little Litecoin long. Let me just delete some of this stuff. So yeah, we took a nice little Litecoin long on Tuesday in this area, which was very nice. Let me delete some of this stuff now. Actually I'll keep that on. And I took most of the profit off at weekly open, and then I actually took the rest of my trade in here just because I was like, it was a good trade. I'm gonna just completely take my profit in this area. There was actually a re-entry on this wick if anyone had any orders like stacked in the same area for a re-entry, but apart from that, Good trade to start the week off. We're in positive. Apart from that, AVAX, I did just get hit on a few orders in between this pocket. And yeah, we're kind of like steaming up to the weekly open where I'm going to take a bit of profit. Apart from that, not really too much to say in the charts this week. One thing I am quite interested in this area is hype. We have a lot of support around these lows that we did from the weekend after the dump. That's kind of something that we do want to hold. But yeah, it's just not looking like extremely attractive. If we do sort of like a touch on the weekly open and one more down into this like support, I might take a little trade around the 886 just because we've got this like little dead zone here at like 35.5, 35.4, where that would be probably a good place for a stop loss. And there's kind of like minimal risk in this area if we do get, well, I mean, it's 3%, which is kind of still a little bit heavy, but that is something I'm potentially looking at too long. Apart from that, not really too many changes in the market since Tuesday, since we kind of went over it. I believe that the data's been fine, or the speeches have been, there's nothing really been happening with the speeches. So yeah, I mean, I'll just keep these setups in, and we'll be alive to some potential shorts if they do show ourselves. But all in all, I do still expect at some point, I mean, it's whether we get a lit grab first down to lows and we kind of like thin out the long to short ratio a little bit, but at some point I am expecting us to, you know, come and rip these highs up here before we go into a bear market at least. So yeah, we do have a little high leverage stuff above us on Bitcoin. That's sitting at about 112.5 to 113.5 ish in that area. And yeah, it's just we're just in a little bit of a lull phase. There is definitely an argument, if you weren't looking at the long to short ratio, to potentially long on these 4-hour lows that we are holding as of right now. But yeah, it's just one of those weird ones. Let's actually have a look at the volume delta. We are having some longs come in, and we've also got some short volume, not really telling us anything too much. Trendmaster, we've got the 4-hour combination band coming in around, you know, 109, 108. But yeah, we're in a bit of a downtrend, and I kind of want to wait for a little bit more direction in the market before I take some big trades. Let's have a look at ETH. Oh, way too many things on that chart. Let's have a look at this one. Yo, what's up, Plumbo? You don't think that was a lit grab that just happened? Yeah, I do. Hey, Jack, check out stablecoin. So yeah, stablecoin actually, on the 4-hour, we are getting some regular bullish divergence. So this is good. This is definitely good. Now, with the divergences, they can play out on the first time when they first signal, or they could do one more dump and then that's the real one. So for me, this definitely could bounce from here. It definitely could. But I just feel like with the long to short ratio, we're kind of looking at maybe one more, and then this will probably print. Well, it has printed, but then that will be the real move, and then we'll get the move up to the highs. It's purely based off the long to short ratio. I know that's not something that people like love to hear, but yeah, it's just the amount of longs that I've stacked in this area, along with the long to short ratio, just means that we could fill this wick. We could fill this wick before going back up. Now, don't get me wrong, I am targeting sort of like 121, 123, this area. But if I enter a trade here right now, there is a good chance that we could do that and then come back up. So all in all, it's just it's just one of those areas, isn't it, guys? But the stablecoin demand is giving me a little bit of hope that we are going to have move up. And so far, what I can say is that we are holding the lows, and we have hit extremely oversold area on the 12-hour, with the Harmony oscillator basically being an oversold as well. So these are conditions for a bounce. Don't get me wrong. It's just the long to short ratio really is the only outlier for me. So yeah, that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. If we do get some sort of like hourly thing where we do start like coming down towards like 108, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the long to short ratio once we start hurtling down towards there. But yeah, in general, I am expecting us to come and take that stuff at like 120, 120, 123 at some point, or at least before the bear market. So yeah. Another thing that I was talking about was this B&B trade. Now, I did short this and get stopped out on this liquidation wick, but unfortunately I didn't see the re-entry on this weekly open. That was the re-entry there, and this was definitely just the deviation lit grab. It went pretty well. I would say that this is kind of like holding its structure now, and we are getting some hidden bull div on the retail stablecoin demand now for potentially a little bit of a move up. But yeah, this is kind of probably just going to go sideways in a range sort of like this for a little while, which could give some decent trading opportunity in this sort of like range. But yeah, if anyone was able to sort of like catch this, so I was trying to short here. We did the lit grab, stopped me out. Then we did a lower low on the price chart, and then that's sort of like your signal to go for the re-entry, this lower low here, and then the retest of the weekly open was the perfect sort of like entry. But unfortunately I wasn't looking at the chart at 1 a.m. so, but that was a good re-entry if anyone managed to catch it. Quite an easy trade, to be honest. Went down 12% in the following 12 hours. So yeah, apart from that, it's just looking a little bit neither here nor there for me personally. If the long to short ratio wasn't so high, I would be a little bit more confident, but it just makes me a little bit, makes me pull back. It makes me a little bit hesitant, shall we say. Saying that, I am in an AVAX long, so if we go up, I'm more than happy for that. And hype is looking mildly interesting in this area. But apart from that, yeah, same old, same old. And I would like to hear what you guys are thinking, what you guys are looking at the moment, because yeah, we are in this sort of like just sideways consolidation. I'd say on the balance of probabilities, there's a higher chance that we go up now, just after the big wick, and obviously looking at the liquidations. But I'd say the only outlier for that is the long short ratio, pretty much. So all in all, you could potentially take some longs. I just don't want to really mess with it that much. I'm just like, I just don't know. Like, if the long short ratio is up to 67% long, it's just, we could just see a bit of a wick down. It doesn't have to happen, but yeah. If you consider many got licked, the long to short has lost its weight in my own until book thicken. Yeah, definitely could be. We've also got the 4-hour stablecoin, 2 day. I haven't checked the 2 day. Let's check the 1 day though. Yeah, no divergence there. Bearish divergence on the 3 day at the high. Kind of not really saying anything. Yeah. ETH, we had a really nice one print at the bottom actually on the 12-hour. And the daily, we have also pinted bullish divergence on the retail stablecoin demand on the daily as well. So yeah, like I said, like maybe one more move down, and then we'll get the proper move up for this. And this actually might diverge again if it kind of goes like that, and we get that one more move down, and we get some big daily divergences come in around the lows. But yeah, it doesn't look too bad. It just looks like we're in an area where it's just trying to trap people. But if I were to say this formation and just look at it like this, that looks like a pennant coming in from a bearish scenario. You would expect this to potentially break down just on the balance of probabilities. So it's kind of just saying either way. Either or way at the moment. Long short ratio lost its weight before then. Retail is still all broke as fuck. Nobody has money. Ignoring it has been great. Only paying attention to liquidations that show on the chart. Well, let's test it out then. We'll actually test it out on this one. Will the long to short ratio, which is heavily long in this area, will it actually have an effect? So for me, if we do pump up from here now and make a new high, I think it's safe to say that the long to short ratio, like you said, isn't as profound as it used to be. Maybe only like the crosses in between long and shorts, when people flip more long and more short, is probably the most important thing. But if we do get some sort of like, you know, come up to here and then wick down, I still do think that will be, you know, the long to short ratio telegraphing us that we've got a lot of longs in this area, and that if we do take them and then come back up, then, you know, long to short ratio will still be, in my eyes, something that I look at pretty much every day. I don't think it's the long to short ratio in itself that is the bad thing. It might just be the data that is being pulled on CoinGlass, or specifically it's only on Binance that we're talking about. So yeah, maybe there just might be a couple mishaps with the data that we're looking at. But, you know, I hear you, Zeus. I hear you, Zeus. I'd say we get 105 area on Bitcoin at some stage, but might get to 118 first, then down to the wiki. So like, I'm kind of in a similar boat to you, Plumbus. I'm saying like we're gonna get 101 to 105, but are we gonna do 121 first? Is my thought. I kind of feel like we might get 105 first, just because of the amount of longs that are stacking in this sort of like sideways consolidation. But again, the long short ratio, you're right, it has kind of lost a little bit of its reputations, shall we say. The 2D is diverging also, and it's curled back up for now. Okay. I don't have the 2D on. I'm scaling into a hype long short term. Yeah, I'm interested in it. I'm not going to take it yet, but I am very interested in that as well. Could be one more down. This might be a false move up. I also kind of agree with that assessment from Thumbcase, because a lot of the times when you're looking at the retail stablecoin demand, when it prints, they can do a false move back down, or either way, and then it does the real move. I have seen that happen quite a lot of times. But to be honest, you guys are right. Like, if I was looking at this chart without the long to short ratio, and I was just looking at this, I would probably say that there's more of a probability that we would go up and rip this first before going down and doing that. So yeah, it's kind of diverging from what the charts are telling us at the moment, as this just does look right in between 125 and 190, well, 120 and 121.5. That does look ripe for me. And there's a very easy trigger. It's gain this, and we're going to go to this. But until then, I'm just not really that confident in this area on taking that long, to be honest. I'm just not like completely confident in it. And you know what? If we do get that like sort of like touch, and then one more down into here, and then we get people shorting, that will be like, okay, we're going to go up. Next month or a little longer. Hold on. Next month or a little longer, we're going to be trapped and fucked with both sides. I agree. It's a very trappy area. Then we go for all-time highs on Bitcoin into end of year. That would be crazy. I have no idea what alts do. Probably some will follow Bitcoin and outperform, and others will lag or do very little. Yeah, story of this cycle, right? Story of this cycle. CoinGlass, I quit using when I caught them using fake liquidations. Oh, really? If the product you're using is free, you are the product. Yeah. It's kind of hard to argue with that, to be honest. Okay, got to bounce. See you later, Plumbus. You're a legend. This guy's a legend, bro. Yeah, we shall see. It will be chop regardless. Yeah, completely right. We're just in that choppy zone, and it's just not really that clear cut. I mean, let's do a little pulse check here. Gun to your head, what do you think we get first? 104? Let's just call it 10. Okay, let's call it 107 just for simplicity. 107 or 121? Gun to your head, absolute, like you're about to get shot. What do you think is going to happen? Is Hyperdash not free as well? Yeah, it is. Oh, he's taking a piss. Trading Light was paid, and look how shit it was. It was shit. And I tried to cancel my Trading Light, and they still billed me for like 4 months when it was down as well. The whole website was down. I did like Trading Light, so because you could see the orders better. But we do have the volume delta, so let me just turn all of this off, and I'll show you the volume delta. So you do have the volume delta, which I think you can take off the bands. Oh no, you want the delta bands, and then you can take off the order bands. So you can kind of see what candle was having a lot of longs and what candles having a lot of shorts. So there's actually been a lot of selling on these candles right here, and we do have a lot of longs coming in at the bottom. But I'll just put the bands back on because it's quite nice. Order flow, dominance bands. What's the volume heat map? I actually haven't looked at this. No, it's not that good, is it? It's not that good. So yeah, this is not really saying anything, to be honest. This is saying that we have short and long volume in this area, and it's kind of like quite equal at the moment. Again, a lot of indecision. Oops, I just went back way too far there. So yeah, at least I can verify liquidations by opening the account and seeing the position, so I know the liquidations are real. Versus CoinGlass, I caught specifically having fake liquidations on the heat map. Are you sure? I agree, but CG give you overall view of the market in my own. Same, Jack. Yeah. I'm taking the long, I'm taking the short. See, this is what I mean, guys. Like, you're not wrong in either of that. But it's just that area where everyone's like, there's no clear direction. I would say that the clear direction generally, if I'm just like, if I had a gun to my head, I would say that we're probably gonna go up on the balance. But the only outlier, like I said, is there is a lot of long stacking in this like sideways consolidation. So it wouldn't surprise me if we just did that and then did that. Like, it would not surprise me. So if I'm trying to long here, where's my stop going to be? I would have to have it like all the way down here, and it's just not a risk that I'm willing to take in this area. But we'll see. Like, I feel like, you know, did you say 107 or 121? As I've been accused, that's a little lopsided 4K versus, yeah, I guess. It is a little lopsided, but, you know, that's just saying basically the one more. Because I do think we'll probably get a little bit of a bounce up to the Q4 or the weekly open from here. But then that will be sort of like, you know, 6% move on Bitcoin is nothing to sneer at, and that's 9%. So positive, go to any CoinGlass charts that only have 3x available and will show liquidations on a hyperliquid chart where 20 to 50 100 would be, and that's not possible on high liquid with those 3x coins. Because of only coin glass cards that have 3x available here, which are liquidations. Yeah, you're right, actually. Hyperliquid. But Hyperliquid's a deck, so surely... Yeah, their data might not be correct. But yeah, in general, it's just a weird. We're just in a weird spot in the market, to be honest. And I don't really want to expose myself too much when I'm just not really seeing anything that I really like. Like I said, I am in an AVAX long. Like I'm in an AVAX long, so I'm happy if we go up now because I got a really good entry on this. And I am interested in longing hype. I'm interested in it. This actually looks. It could look potentially quite decent, but again, we might just get one more. I'm cautious about the one more. So yeah. But all of their data is on chain and can be pulled with API. That's what Hyperdash does. So have you checked Hyperdash compared to CoinGlass liquidations? And is that yeah, I guess they are pulling wrong data. Maybe it's a bit of a bug. Yeah, and they're completely different. Let me go back to CoinGlass quickly. But you know what I will say is that the long to short ratio. So we're also saying that the MDX charts are wrong for the long to short ratio. I mean, I know we're talking about liquidations, but if we're talking about long to short ratio, the long to short ratio on the MDX Algo charts is the same as on CoinGlass. So right now we're at 67% long, and on CoinGlass we're at, on the previous 1 hour, 67.4% long. So anyway, I'll stop that recording here. 27 minutes.